Hey, welcome back, guys. I've spent much time on this channel objectively critiquing Power's lead character, mainly because it's so easy to give him a pass, especially given his fate. There's plenty of videos in my catalog addressing his many slips and tweaks. However, in this video, we'll be analyzing the hustler qualities that made him a television GOAT, breaking down the 48 laws and other methods he used to masterful perfection, and ranking them in our typical top 10 fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. Ghost lesson number 10, purse first. Above life's many pleasures, including women, sex, and drugs, Ghost was first and foremost about his paper. Part of the savage nature created from the void Angela left when she abandoned him for school. This was exemplified not only through his street endeavors, but legitimate hustles as well, i.e. clubs, laundromats, etc. Power is as much a success story as it is a love one, and that success is rooted in two words that embody the hustler's manifesto at its core: purse first. It's the predecessor of the accompanying phrase, ass last, and was followed to a T by the Ghost Man, despite his various romantic struggles with his wife Tasha and side piece Angela. This was a man that valued his business prowess to a fault, something that factored into the overall cost of his ancillary relationships, most notably his children. Ghost lesson number 9, despise the free lunch. Law 40 of the 48 mandates on manipulation warns against the dangers of accepting anything offered freely. Ghost was an observer of this law, as we witnessed on multiple occasions. When offered the slightest of overtures by his old frenemy Simon Stern, Ghost would always deny, understanding that the free lunch robs a man of his free will and makes him beholden to the supplier of the perceived goodwill. Such a position was totally contrary to a man of his stature, and he would fight for his freedom and independence on multiple occasions, even to his own detriment. Better suffering through independence than comfort through subjugation. The only way Ghost knew. Ghost lesson number 8, play to people's fantasies. I'm a salesman. I sell people a fantasy. This wasn't just merely romantic banter between Ghost and his long-lost love, but a weapon in his arsenal that proved useful time and again. He implemented it to much success in his club business, fostering an environment that removed people from the stresses of real life. He enforced it in the underworld, creating an omnipresent aura through his impeccable ambition. And most ironically, he fulfilled it with the woman he loved most, the one who he relayed the quote upon to begin with. Much to her chagrin, Ghost understood the power of tapping into people's fantasies and catered to them to great effect. Ghost lesson number 7, make your maneuvers seem effortless. Whether presiding over his legitimate businesses, street business, or personal business, one thing is clear about the Ghost Man's exploits. He made this shit look easy. Ghost has been extorted, downsized, kicked out, incarcerated, threatened with death, and all other maladies. But he remained composed through it all. Even when the worst tragedy a parent could bear confronted his psyche, he maintained as functional as any sane person could, murder drunk drivers excluded. Ghost made a habit of flying in circumstances that lesser men couldn't even crawl through, and he did it with ease. It's one of the major reasons he's as beloved and missed the way he is. He never folded, despite how filthy the laundry was, so to speak, adding to his extraordinary legend. Ghost lesson number 6, keep your hands clean. If there's one thing that the Ghost Man thrived in, it was getting other people to do his dirty work. Whether legitimate business, street business, or personal, Ghost often used a proxy to carry out his deeds. A major example of this was the Diego Jimenez murder, which the Ghost Man enlisted Kanan for. And let's not forget the innumerable missions he sent Tasha on to save face, and in some cases, save lives. Ghost often used this tactic to avoid scrutiny and hide in plain sight, though some plans did work better than others, i.e. Vibora Ruiz. Nevertheless, the multiple wins in pawning others far outweighed his losses. And that's something we must always keep in mind when recapping his legacy. Ghost lesson number 5, thumbscrew the competition. Law 33 of the 48 outlines the imperativeness of finding a weakness in your opponent and turning it as a thumbscrew to gain an advantage over them. At this game, Ghost was nothing short of a master. He relished in discovering the weaknesses of his adversaries and friends too, and exploiting them until his aims were met. He carried this out to the letter with Simon Stern, infiltrating his wife's interests and using her to win out against him. gaining not only his club Truth, but Simon's other clubs as well. This took the Ghost Man from manager to mogul in one fell swoop, one to be studied without question. Ghost lesson number 4, recreate yourself. This is arguably Ghost's greatest lesson to onlookers, as it embodies his entire journey throughout the series. Ghost went from an underworld maven to business world mogul to political world hopeful. His narrative is loosely split between 3 acts, all of which lent itself to one of nature's greatest superpowers, the power of conversion. Ghost indeed leaned on his inclinations, but it was never his intention to stay there. That penchant for change, inspired by his future life, ravaged his present one, all the way to his untimely demise. Be that as it may, Ghost displayed how to tackle such an endeavor, and even through his transgressions, how to achieve it, through the elimination of distractions coupled with intense focus. Ghost lesson number 3, control the options. In my now classic psychoanalysis of Ghost, I chronicled his tendency to control the options through the omission of truth. Though arguable in its execution, the short-term gains were momentous towards his advancement throughout the narrative. Ghost's mum approach to business kept him in the driver's seat against his competitors, who were always searching for ways to undermine him. He understood how powerful information was and didn't make a habit of releasing it freely, unlike his partner in crime Tommy and wife Tasha, whose diarrhea of the mouth came with expected blowback on plenty of occasions. Restrictions of truth restricted the response and reactions, leaving Ghost as the only player with the full deck against all opposers. He certainly acquired such a nature from the streets, but with those hard roads paralleling the cold surfaces of the business world, it served him well during his ascension. Ghost lesson number 2, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. A man who cannot control his mouth ultimately cannot control himself and is unworthy of respect. This highlight was a caveat of the 4th power law of the 48, and one that Ghost lived by religiously. Always say less than necessary. Upon mentoring Canaan's son Sean in his own image and likeness, Ghost conveyed to him that, quote, God gave you 2 eyes and 1 mouth for a reason. This powerful proverb spoke to the importance of listening before speaking, and by extension, thinking before acting. It was the embodiment of Ghost's personal character, as he never made a move without properly weighing all outcomes, something that is impossible without putting your ears to good use first, and often. The many stratagems that became the hallmark of his legacy were rooted in this philosophy, and it's one that we could all serve to acknowledge within our own walks through this life. In Ghost lesson number 1, plan all the way to the end. Robert Greene's 29th law was Ghost's swan song, his final act of greatness that cemented his legacy for the many sequels to come. Ghost was glorified and subsequently immortalized due to his penchant for planning. And as we've seen throughout his son's solo journey, Ghost had everything in place in case of his demise. His will was ironclad, serving as a final FU to his rebellious seed and treacherous wife. He ensured that Tariq would indeed finish his education, whether he liked it or not, and most recently, protected his youngest daughter from his son's grasp, though she would ultimately end up with a fleeting Tasha, best case scenario as any. Ghost was beloved for being cerebral, and nothing highlighted this more than his posthumous maneuvers, which were arguably as legendary as his living ones. And that'll do it for this one. What are your takeaways from these lessons? And what did the Ghost Man teach you along the way? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop a dollar on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.
Ready, magic.